And let's look at a schedule for drafting 131. Okay, today is um, April 12th, and this is we should be finishing the project that we're doing um, because it's due next class. And we are going to start our final project next class. So we have 2 more weeks to go. And um, and just the final project. So we are pretty much done with the class as it is. Let's see what we have to do today. I don't think we got much going except to finish, but let's check on that. Um, hmm, Not sure that. Well, we'll see. So a couple of things here regarding the material browser and so object selecting. Uh, let's open that. Yeah, this is just information regarding when we have a busy drawing or a complex drawing, we like to use this way of highlighting objects. And we talked about that last time, right? When we can find, on one of the cases, I did control click to select some of the edges, but we can actually also do a couple more things here. Shift F2, Shift F3, Shift F4, and then we can find different objects within the object itself. So, and that help us to select the objects as we move on. So let's maybe look at that again. And kind of go this way here. Use the extrude tool. And then let's go to wireframe. And so see if I do control and then click on that object, I get a sub-object selection, right? This is what we're talking about here. Now you can click on that object and then you can dynamically change the shape of that particular object. So now what happens if I press Shift F2, let's see. So I'm going to select the hold on. Select the object and then do that Shift F2. It's set to 1, so let's check on the variable here because we have another option that is selection mode variable. One, two, three, four, five. Let's see if I make sense of that. Right now it's set to 0, but what if I set it to 1? And then and now I can, if it's set to 1, then when I do control and click on the object, enter. Once again, Shift F2, okay. No, it's still the same. Still selecting the same. Now select, oh, let's see, let's do this. Right, if you select the face, if you select the edge, it selects the whole face. Okay, and then let's see. So that's what it means. Is if you set your variable to be any one of these numbers, then you can select different only faces, only edges. So in this case, if I set it to 3, then only faces are available for select. And so Shift F4. And now only faces. Okay. So that may help, or they say helps, when you have multiple objects working at the same time, or complex drawings as well. One of the things that I would like you to do as part of the final presentation is make sure to apply materials. And so remember that we have the materials browser here. And you can select different materials for different parts of the project. And try to be as specific as you can, right? Because your project has different parts that you can apply different materials to. For example, in this case, I have this trim here. Maybe what I need to do to apply this material to the trim is make this an independent object. And so maybe one way of doing that would be to apply a, let's see, let's copy this here because I want to see if I can slice that object instead of having to recreate it. So I'm going to do slice, enter, and now I'm going to do a 3-point. Enter, and done, right? So now that's an independent object, which has separated it from the other part. So now you can apply a material to this object and a material to this object. And the same as we, if we have a mullion like this, and remember that we created this element to create the mullions on the side. So all of the elements of this particular building could have different materials. So let me do one here. 3-point UCS. Let's place the UCS right here. 1, 2. Let me do a wireframe. 3-point. 1, 2, and 3. And now let's create a polylines rectangle like that. And in that rectangle, I'm going to copy this object that we have here. And then I'm going to copy it on the outside so that we can make it an independent object and sweep it. Right, and now this object is a different object and I can bring it back here. And we can join these two. Union. I always like to copy the objects before. Oh, but that's a complete object there as well. So obviously we'll have to slice it so that we can separate it. Or create a new one just based on that, which could be, but slice is simple enough to do it. So we select slice, enter, and then I'm going to do 3-point here, here, and there. And then again, one, two, let's do this. All right, and so now I'm going to move this. No, we didn't quite slice it. slice a little bit more. And it's not separating because I also need to separate it the other way. So probably better to do just the press pull here and actually delete and create that object. So let's do that. No. So actually this, create the geometry. Okay. And then we do that. And now we can do that. Done. And so now here, what I'm going to do is actually see if I can subtract it with a different object. So maybe create an object here. And then this polyline we want to extrude. And subtract. Join this first. Great. And so kind of that way we start working on the project, make multiple parts and make sure that all the parts can actually have a material that can be applied to them. And so, but for that, remember, all your parts need to be independent, or the object needs to be independent. I'm going to copy it again. And then I union this part here. And now they can have their own materials. And you then submit that. Remember that you need to create your layouts here on the page and try to extract those as using the tools that we have shown you so far. So let's look at the assignment once again. And drawing for final. So we have 4 3D views of the project. So those 3D views of the project can be, if this is my project or this is my project, those views can be overall views. They can be isometric views like this, or perspective views. So it's up to you. But hopefully it will show the object on the 4 sides. Then we need 4 3D views of the detail. So in your project, you need to isolate a particular part of the project that you would like to develop further. In the case of a house like this, maybe we do the kitchen countertop and cabinets, right? And so we take that as a component or detail that we want to explore further in 3D. We haven't done much detail. We are just doing the basic of the building. And in an industrial design or mechanical design project, we might explore components of the assembly that we would like to further detail. And at any scale, we always have the opportunity to provide more detail. And so you need to select that particular piece of the building and then make sure that that you have views of that. That's all that we want. We don't want you to create all the parts for it, but I want to isolate that particular object in a view so that I can further detail it later. For example, if I have if I wanted to actually do a detail of, my detail could be the window assembly, and I may have a really basic shape like this. For example, I'm going to go to place my UCS here, and now I am going to create a polyline again inside that object. Like that. And I can say, okay, that for now, that's going to be the glass that I am going to use. And see, it doesn't matter if it goes through or not, because I can do just a regular extrusion there. And maybe do 1/2 inch, right? And now I have a basic window. And so I can say, okay, that's my window, that's my detail. And so I create 4 views of that. Not very exciting, that particular detail, but if you say, okay, that's going to be the detail, then that's the detail. And then you show 4 views of that. And try to isolate it. If you cannot isolate it visually like this, try to use layers. And so put this object in a particular layer that you can actually turn off the rest of the other layers and just keep this one on. So this will be my detail, and I do 4 views of that. Hopefully 4 views is enough to show what I need to show. and then two sections of the project. So those sections need to be created using any of the tools that you had or that we talk about that can create views. Um, I'm particular to 3D views, right? Like this. I like uh, these sections, right? And you can show a section like this, or you can just place it on the side that you need to and show the section. But I like to show, the 3D and the 2D. Now remember that if you have a 2D section, uh, if you want to present a 2D section, then the best way to do that is by creating the 2D section with the section plane. And you can create a 2D section like that on the floor because you can modify the view here. Right, and then I can go to the top view here, and then I'll scale this to whatever scale I need. I can rotate the viewport if I want to, or I can rotate the view UCS per se. Those are two options. And so with those tools, I can make sure that I set my presentation as I need to. Remember that you need to have a title block. Um, title block, project information, and then you need the elevations, right? So that's all we need. Annotations as needed. Um, so elevations can be also just views like this, right? You copy this view, for example, and then you set up the elevation view. And so make sure that that's to scale and done. Now, what are the basic annotations that we need? Well, we need this here, the view title, right? That's all something we always need for each view. And so make sure that this looks big because my paper is too small. And so each view has a different name, number, okay? So this is one, and then if I have this one here, I can copy it. Um, this may be two. And if I have 8 views on my sheet, then I have 8 views, 1, 2, 8, that are different. And then that's about what I need here. But you may decide that you want some um, dimensions. And in the case of the sections, in architecture, for example, when we create a section, we do want to have some annotations. So I'm going to do linear dimension, and so I dimension from here to there, right? Remember UCS by view, UCS by view, okay? Or you go to UCS world, and so then you do the dimension. And the dimension needs to be done according to the scale you're going to print. So let's say that this object is going to be at 1/4 inch. And so once again, make sure that the dimension style is correct. Set the dimension of the model space to the scale you're going to print, and then you place the dimension there. Okay, sections only are dimensions on the height, and we're not looking for floor plans here. So Those are kind of the minimal dimensions that we want, the annotations that we want, right? So this is really big, really small. If I were to call that out at a 1/4 inch, then I can see the dimensions, right? And that's it. So overall, that's the idea. We've done the project that we needed to do, and we need to move on to the next phase. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. I will be available if you have any questions now or later.